It's a relief. It wasn't us. But one of the most remarkable things about our planet is that life just keeps on going. After a gigantic asteroid smashed into Earth 65 million years ago, wiping out the dinosaurs, small mammals, like our shrew-like ancestors, took over and eventually gave rise to big mammals like us. Our domination of the planet was so complete that you wouldn't think anything could stop it. But this isn't the only possible future for our world. In fact, with just a few changes in history, our world could be a very different place. A place where dinosaurs still roam. So let's spin back the clock and take a look at what might happen if the dinosaurs had stuck around 65 million years ago. An asteroid changed everything. But what if it missed? What if dinosaurs never went extinct? In a world without an extinction event, life would continue, much like it does today. Mammals would evolve, but they'd likely be relatively minor players in the ecosystem. The reason mammals were able to take over after the extinction event is because there was nothing left to compete with them. There were no large predators left. So smaller animals could flourish and fill many ecological niches in a world where dinosaurs continued to thrive. Though mammals would struggle for survival, as a result, mammals might never have become as widespread or diverse as they are today. Maybe we wouldn't even exist. But hold on. Even if mammals did exist in this world, they would face another major obstacle to their advancement: intelligence. Mammals are some of the smartest animals on Earth. But compared to our ancient relatives, the dinosaurs, we're not that bright. It might seem crazy since we built spaceships and write symphonies, but when you compare our brain size to body size, we're pretty dumb. This is especially true of early mammals. If the dinosaurs never went extinct, competition for resources between them and mammals would be fierce. Mammals might need to get smarter to survive over millions of years. This competition could lead to a new wave of evolution, resulting in highly intelligent and social dinosaurs, and maybe even dinosaurs that write symphonies. Okay, now let's imagine something really weird. Let's say those smart dinosaurs didn't go extinct either. Instead of giving rise to bird dinosaurs, the asteroid wipes out all the little protobird leaving the smarter, bigger dinosaurs to rule the land. As the eons passed, these new dinosaurs would change the landscape itself. Plants would evolve to match. Take, for example, the sauropods, the long-necked giants like Brachiosaurus, and these plant eaters needed to eat tons of plants to meet their huge energy needs. And as sauropods grew larger and larger, plants would have to grow taller and develop stronger tissues to keep up. Over time, this competition between plant and herbivore would push plants to become more like trees, forming forests, much like we know them today. But what about the oceans? With so much biomass on land, nutrients would quickly build up in the oceans. Algae and other microscopic plants would bloom, leading to massive oxygen production. These changes would also affect the ocean's chemistry. More oxygen in the atmosphere would mean less carbon dioxide, which would cause the oceans to become more basic. This shift in chemistry would affect the abundance of shells and skeletons in the ocean. With more basic water, it would be harder for animals to form these structures, meaning that the ocean floor might not be littered with the skeletons of countless creatures. Instead, shells and skeletons would slowly dissolve, creating a nutrient-rich soup in the ocean that could fuel even more algae growth. All of this new plant life would have a knock-on effect throughout the entire ecosystem. Animals would evolve to take advantage of the new food sources and environments. In this world, instead of mammals dominating, it might be dinosaurs who reign supreme. But wait a second, this isn't the world we live in. So why does any of this matter? Well, if dinosaurs never went extinct, they could have evolved in ways that we can only imagine. Take the famous velociraptor, a small, feathered carnivore from the late Cretaceous period. Imagine if this animal had kept on keeping on. Without the extinction event, it could have given rise to a whole new line of intelligent, feathered predators. They could have hunted in packs, using their intelligence to outsmart their prey and their sharp claws and teeth to tear it apart. They might have looked like wolves, or maybe they'd resemble hyenas. But instead of descending from wolves or hyenas, they'd come from dinosaurs. Heck, these new predators might have even started wearing clothes. Who knows? But what about the ancestors of birds? If the theropod dinosaurs went extinct, the lineage that led to birds would have died out as well. But there were lots of other animals that could have taken their place. Maybe a relative of Ankylosaurus would have grown feathers and taken to the sky. Or perhaps a relative of Pteranodon would have evolved a way to walk on land and eventually given rise to feathered flying dinosaurs. No matter what happened though, the skies would be filled with magnificent flying reptiles and maybe even an occasional flying mammal. The thing is, we already know that something like this happened because it did happen. The dinosaurs did go extinct, giving rise to the birds we know and love today. Birds are actually considered to be dinosaurs. So in a world where dinosaurs never went extinct, birds would simply be one type of dinosaur among many others. But if birds weren't around, that means that the dinosaurs would have to fill the ecological vacancy themselves. Some dinosaurs might have evolved to become better adapted to life in the trees, eventually becoming primates. Okay. That last one is a bit of a stretch, but it's not impossible. Dinosaurs were already starting to evolve feathers, and some dinosaurs were even starting to look a bit bird-like. Evolution is a continuous process, and there's no reason that dinosaurs couldn't have continued down this path and eventually given rise to humans. In fact, some scientists think that this actually did happen. Scientists recently discovered a relative of Ankylosaurus in the genus Boreopelta, The strange thing about this animal is that it seems to be a mosaic of traits. It has features that resemble dinosaurs, but it also has traits that are found in modern birds. This animal lived about 70 million years ago, right after the asteroid impact that killed off the dinosaurs. But this individual doesn't seem to have been affected by the impact, which makes it a bit of an enigma. One possibility is that this animal represents a group of dinosaurs that managed to hang on despite the extinction event. If this is true, then it's possible that dinosaurs did continue to exist in North America for tens of millions of years after the asteroid struck. And while there's no evidence that dinosaurs coexisted with humans, the discovery of Boreopelta makes it clear that life finds a way. Even if humans did evolve from dinosaurs, though we might not have survived for long. Humans and dinosaurs might have been fighting for survival on a prehistoric battlefield, but against a pack of intelligent, highly evolved dinosaurs, we wouldn't stand a chance. Maybe we would have gone extinct before we ever even got started. Okay, so maybe dinosaurs never going extinct would be bad for us. But if it didn't happen, who would be left to tell the tale? Today, more than 200 million years after the first dinosaurs appeared, we can still find fossils of dinosaurs across the globe. We've learned a lot from studying these fossils, but there's still much more to discover. As technology improves, we may learn even more about the dinosaurs and the world they lived in. And with each new discovery, we get a little closer to understanding what life was like during the age of dinosaurs. But one question remains. If dinosaurs never went extinct, would we even be here? If dinosaurs never went extinct, they would have continued to dominate the planet. Mammals would have struggled to survive, and birds wouldn't exist. The world would be full of dinosaurs. But would we even be here? Probably not. Dinosaurs would have evolved in ways that we can only imagine, and they would have been too smart, too strong, and frankly, too dangerous for us to ever get a foothold on the planet. So we should be glad that the asteroid hit, because without it, we would be nothing more than a footnote in the history of the dinosaurs. Now watch, what if the world was flat? Or check out what if the sun went out?